Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to Solutions with Aquarius Rising Africa. And as per usual, we have with us our lovely Brice while I'm still fidgeting with papers. And of course, Thea, who is not in the back room today, in the front room with us on Wednesdays. So, welcome to Solutions, where we are now going to be doing part 4 of the Sophia Code. So I'm really looking forward to this. Yes, let me. Ta-da. So yeah, I think it's wonderful to get cracking on. This is a really amazing book, actually, and I'm deliberately reading it only because I think I said to you guys before, I've had it for a little while, but I've kind of been like not reading the full thing, just kind of reading bits here and there. But I know that's not how you read this book. This book you really need to read from front to back. So I'm really enjoying, and I'm actually sticking with our weekly schedule, actually reading the chapters on the day that we do it, because I like to actually read it and then, we do a decode and a bit of a insight onto that. So I'm really enjoying it, and I hope our viewers are too, because it's such really, really important information. It really is about the arising of the divine feminine. And, like I always say, it's never a person or people that are going to be the saviors. It's not a woman that's coming to save you or a man that's coming to whisk us off on a spaceship. It is our own selves that through realizing and integrating and aligning and integrating with this information enables us to save ourselves, because what we literally do is we raise our frequency. And it's not just here. You see, this is the whole thing about what we're doing at this time, because we have to align our emotions with our divine spirit. And that's what many of us can't do. We resist in our emotions hugely. So, and the feminine is all about emotions. I mean, if we just look at the planet, right? In recent years, it's been very patriarchal. The matriarchal energy has been very submissive and really downplayed and abused in many ways. We just look at how females in general over the eons have been treated. That really is it's a reflection of what's happening with a consciousness, right, of what's going on as well. So now that we're ready, we are able to integrate these frequencies. Our bodies are our vehicles, it's our little spaceship. Your body's your spaceship. That's the spaceship that's going to transport you out. So when you raise your frequency, your aura, the frequency of your aura is actually what lifts you, not necessarily physically. I don't know, maybe that'll happen sometime, but I'm thinking more spiritually. That automatically aligns you to the right place at the right time, where you aren't in the line of fire or mass massacre or whatever it might be. You're not there. You automatically, I want to say, are above it, but I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean, it's like you're lighter than that. Your frequency is lighter, so you don't attract that. You're attracting things in line with your frequency. So really, that's what 5D is. We're not going to be spaceshipped onto some other multiverse or Milky Way or solar system or whatever. We're staying right here on Earth. It's a beautiful planet to be, but we're elevating our consciousness right here on Earth. And even though there are so many different dimensions at the same time living here simultaneously, we will attract that which is of our consciousness. That's what Earth is about. And that's the miracle of Earth, because nowhere, no other planet, I do believe. That's why Earth is in such high demand, because it has so much richness and so much opportunities and so much magic.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and I love that. That's one of the things that drives me crazy the most about our little community. It's when people are like, the white hats are coming. No one's coming to save you, honey. You got to save yourself. That's the beauty. That's the power. If you're waiting for someone to come save you, then you're not going to do the work. You're just going to sit around Like, I hate the whole eat your popcorn, it's just a movie. No, it's not. You are a participant in this. And that's what this book is telling you. Like, you are a part of this. You are the white hats. You are that. That's what you are. You need to actually save yourself. And that's where your power is. I know people get scared of that. Like, oh, it's not saying you have to be perfect. You're coming into an understanding of who you really are. Turn the movie off. Movies get boring anyway. Put the popcorn away and understand that you're it. You're the savior. I was about to say you're the Messiah, but no, you're not the Messiah.
No.
Unless you're a male, then maybe. For those who don't know, it means a penis. That's what the word Messiah means, is a phallical pillar. So, and yes, this book to me is actually, I cherish this book almost like this is my Bible now, is this book. Because this is so powerful. And wait till we get to the key. I mean, we haven't even really gotten into, we're just in the introduction of what this is, how to use this. Wait till we get to the key codes. Wait till we get to the activations. Holy shit. Is this book, it's so freaking powerful. It's so powerful.
Yeah.
Well, we look forward to moving through it. Sorry, Thea, carry on.
Yeah, I just wanted to say as well, it's definitely powerful information. And quickly go back to last week's chapter where we were speaking about being disconnected from the mother. And if you're a surrogate mother and the baby and the trauma. And then I thought to myself, yes, and then you still get spliced people, that, and what does that entail? And immediately I heard, but don't you see that when you in tuned and you have activated, none of that will matter because your heritage, that's why Jesus says, know thyself, because or Joshua rather, if you don't know this about yourself, you're always going to stay on this 3D level or consciousness and always be trapped in that inheritance from your forefathers and whatever, but
So
once
true.
you are activated and you operate on Sophia's operating system, that all dissolves. So it doesn't matter if you splice or whatever, you are still through the womb.
You're still whole.
And you're
Through
still
the
from
womb.
God. Yeah, and you're still from God, right?
Yeah.
And we must never, ever forget that because, when we realize that even if you have been right-hand girl or left-hand girl to Lucifer himself and have been Lucifer's bride 13,000 times over, your sacred contract is still with God to be that. Remember, Lucifer is also God's creation. Let's never forget that. Lucifer, in my opinion, is here to show us the inverted aspects of who we are, our fear, our greed, all these things that Lucy grabs us at, right? What do we sell our souls for? Money, power, fame, fortune, all the things we inherently have, if only we tapped into it, because we wouldn't need it so externally then. But life on earth is about that. So we must never forget we're meant to be that. But now the time is here for us to remember and reclaim our original name. And when we are able to reclaim the name that God has named us, that is unique to you, that is your source vibration, then everything melts. And we remember our divine purpose, our divine essence. And we also remember why we have had to go through all the trauma and and ups and downs, because it's all actually in the name of expanding your consciousness and growing in the light of God. And that's what it's about at the end of the day for me. So it's really just a beautiful journey of remembering that, because even when you are in torrid, troubled times, you can be in pain, but your source frequency will still hold you. And it won't take you back into those nasty places. it'll still hold you. And that's what dissolves that other stuff. So it's really nice to be able to tune into our divine essence, right?
And that's why it's called the Sophia Code. If people haven't figured that out yet, it's because you are the Sophia Code. That transmission of Sophia is coded within you, within your molecular structure, within your spirit. You are that. You are the Sophia Code. You are the title of this book. And that's why
you've got your own unique code.
Sorry?
You've got your own unique code.
Yeah, your own
source code. You got your own source code.
Yep. That's why it's titled this. That's why it's not a secret. There's no secret. There's no like, oh, it's a secret code we got. No, it's already in you. It's already there. It's not something you have to look for.
You're the one that's got to find it. You're the one that's got to activate. You know,
you are the secret teaching. You're the secret teaching. Boom. There you are. You know, you're it. You're it. I mean, I've said this before. It's kind of comical. You look, we were talking before we started filming about the Grammys and stuff, and we see how much, like how crazy the world has gotten. Y'all, it's only gotten that crazy because that's how special you are. They are trying this hard for you not to know this. So that it's because, so you could just kind of laugh about that. Like, wow, I'm really special. If they're trying this hard to try to like derail me because they don't want me to figure out I am that, then wow, you know. So yeah, it's a special book. It's a very and it's a book without judgment. I want to express that too as we get into the key codes as well. You're going to see that there's not a lot of judgment that Sophia, if any, is placing on anybody. In fact, we see a lot where Sophia or her ascended masters, which we meet in chapter 3, are just, they look at us with curiosity. Just like, you know, one of my favorite things to do when I'm bored or I'm feeling like depressed is I'll go on YouTube and I'll watch videos of like babies saying swear words. You know, like when babies can't pronounce a word, and so they'll say something and it sounds like a swear word, and the parents just laugh so hard. And I think about that with like God and us. Like when we mess up, God must be like, "Oh, that's adorable," you know. Like, you know, like I saw a video the other day where a kid's name was Ace, and their 2-year-old cousin calls them ass because they can't say ace, so they're going ass. And that's how God sees. We laugh at how adorable that is, and I think that's how God sees us. Like the times we feel ashamed or we feel broken, they're just looking at us with loving curiosity. It's all part of the path. It's all part of you learning how to say ace instead of ass. You know, so you know.
I love the way you explain that because it makes it so true. It's really like God looking down, realizing, you know, and thinking about it. Look, I mean, when you have kids in a playpen, invariably you get one or two that throw major tantrums, and they'll even be little bullies, right? So, I mean, it's like that kind of thing. You go, okay, don't bully. It's not nice to bully, you know. So it's almost like we had that experience spiritually as well, which is quite funny. I love your comment. I'm rebooting my code. Face blue smiling. Nice. We're all rebooting. Press reboot, everybody.
Yeah.
Like, what do you do when your cell phone's acting up? You turn it off and then restart it. We just gotta. I actually saw someone put maybe Earth needs to just unplug and replug in for a moment. Like maybe Earth just needs to like restart itself.
And get rid of all the gremlins and the viruses.
Just unplug it. Just unplug Earth for a minute and then plug it back in and see what happens. I'm so bad with technology. That's always my answer to everything. I'm like, well, turn it off and restart because I know nothing about technology. So you know, anyway. It's interesting because we see, like, you know, in chapter 3, it's introducing our High Council of Ascended Masters, which once again, I'm going to read the key code 333, which is on the opposite page, which is the Sophia Dragon Tribe, She of One Council. We are the Sophia Dragon Tribe, an Ascended Master High Council whose living transmission reveals the sovereign Sophia Christ light within all beings. Our living transmission awakens your human awareness to activate the Sophia Code within you and embody your own sovereign divine nature. And you're going to see that with all these different Ascended Masters, because that's going to be every key code. They're all females. We have Isis, Hathor, Mother Mary, Magdalene, Kuan Yin, who, oh my God, Kuan Yin, after I read her the first time, she's by far like one of my favorite key code transmissions. White Buffalo Woman. We've got Green Tara, so there are all these females that have lived. They presented in the key code that yes, we did live as we walk the earth as human beings and we ascended. But they often also talk about how we are you as well. We are one. We are together in this. And the loving, and that's what you're going to get with these ascended masters, as well as the first time I went through this, again, back to that judgment, not once in any of these key codes did I feel nothing but pure love coming from the master who was speaking. And they're all different. They all have different elements, but it's all just pure, and they are cheering you on, especially the last chapter. I won't give anything away, but the last chapter, it is like you are being just carried by them, that motherly, even though they themselves are their own entity, they're all aspects of Sophia as well, and they are cheering you on and catching you. Oh my God, just to feel that love. I mean, after you do each activation, you're just going to feel so much, just the power of that unadulterated. There's nothing you have to do to earn that. Like I think sometimes in churches we're made to feel like we have to be a certain way to earn it. Not with this. You just being you. However messed up, whatever, if your life's a shit show right now, if things are just wonky for you, it doesn't matter. You are still perfect and you are still whole to these awesome ascended masters that are going to walk us through. Once we get to the key codes, they're going to walk us through the key codes. And they even say that. The High Council speaks as ascended masters. As ascended masters is a great soul that once walked the earth on the journey of self-mastery just as you are now. So they know what it's like to human. I think we should turn the word human into a verb. It's humaning. We're human. Yeah. We aren't human. We're spiritual beings. We're humaning right now. So they know what that's like. They say throughout many incarnations, the soul consciously activated the Sophia Code within them, and regardless of all outer circumstances, chose to embody their highest self. Right? And that's what they're going to teach you.
What I love about this is they talk about themselves, but they constantly reminding us that we all one in this. We all part of this. It's not like them and us.
No.
It's us.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I love, because people will look at people like Isis or Hathor and be like, oh, it's just mythology. Same with Thoth from the Emerald Tablets. But it's been very clear that this is not mythology. I think when we think of things as mythology, we see it as something separate from ourselves, as something unachievable. But like when we get Isis is going to be the first key code, and she's very clear that she was a real person. She's not a legend. She's not myth. She was a real person, as was Hathor, was a real person. Kuan Yin. When we get to Magdalene, guys, I'm not going to give too much away, but we learned that Magdalene is a shapeshifter. We learned that. She tells you that in her activation, that she herself is a shapeshifter. So we see these things in the key code, and it's beautiful because, they know what it feels like to have your heart broken. They know what it feels like to feel fear, to feel anxiety. They understand that, and yet they were able as human beings to use that, as we talk about a lot, especially on my channel, to use that as friction, that those obstacles as friction to find their higher selves. And they're putting their hand out to help you along the journey as well. And it's beautiful. And I just noticed here, we'll see this a lot with Hathor, which is still something that's really hard for my mind to get around. As they drew nigh to becoming an ascended master, their soul consciously opened up to the realization that all their incarnations were happening simultaneously.
Right. I've got an emoji picture there, like.
Yeah, and Hathor talks about that extensively throughout her key code. She's a second key code. That we talk a lot about past lives, and for us in this linear world of third density, we think about things in a linear time. But no, all of your lives are playing out now.
Great. Yeah.
And also, what I think is true there as well, because the next sentence there, which I highlight, is During the final initiatory rites of physical ascension, they unify the power of all parallel lifetimes within a single 0 point of one human form. So basically, and that's what I always say to everyone, the most important life you're living is now. You don't have to know who you've been 20,000 years ago or whatever. That's really just part of diversion.
Yeah.
Every life you've lived, every experience you've had has really been culminated into this one literally single body, right? Which is you in the here and the now. So that makes you the wisest version that you've ever been on earth, because literally all your experiences are within you. And this is why oftentimes we will carry forward hereditary diseases, okay? And according to doctors and my genetics and stuff like that, it might look like, oh, I got it from my father, who had it from his father, and everyone dies from a heart attack and, obesity or whatever. That is really just mirrors. At the end of the day, that's your karma you are carrying forward, that you need to transmute in this lifetime. And the way you transmute it is literally like we're saying, you've got to understand that there's certain patterns, there's certain things that are going to keep repeating themselves in this life. And the more it pisses you off, the more you have to realize that is your key to liberation. So the things that really irk you, the people that really, really irk you, they hold the key to your liberation. So when you can see the gift in the experience, you will then release the karma attached, not just to that person, but to many, many, many situations linked to that one emotion, let's say betrayal. The minute you understand what truth really is, and betrayal is truth in disguise, then you release every experience around betrayal in your body. Your cells just heal from it. And that's what it is. We're all coming into one single timeline, or one single unified body. And that's why your body, and I say this all the time, your body is the most precious gem you'll ever possess, because it's the most highly intelligent vehicle. You have around 30, who knows how many cells in your body, 30 trillion cells in your body. And each cell contains enough information to write 1,000 books of 600 pages each. One cell. So you have 30 trillion multiverses within you working together and waiting for you to unlock the knowledge that is within you. And we get that through understanding how powerful we are when we are in alignment with the light of God. When we have separated from that or do other things from that, we might think we're powerful, but we're not really, and it's not going to be able to sustain itself.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually can't believe I'm about to say this on air. I called my friend Emmy leaving the grocery store the other day, and I had this crazy, I was at the grocery store, and my boyfriend texted me, and he was like, will you pick me up a deli sandwich? So we go to the grocery store, and I'm ordering a sandwich, and there's all these construction workers around me getting their sandwiches too. And in the South, we say yes, ma'am, and no, sir. Like, that's a sign of respect. So I'm hearing all these big construction workers tell the deli girl, yes, ma'am. And I'm saying yes, ma'am. And all of a sudden, I just kind of looked around at everyone, and I felt this unbelievable. It was like, I'm glad I didn't show it, because they probably thought I would think I was on something. But I just felt this unbelievable just love for everyone. Like, in that moment, I was like, I am you and you are me. Like, we all, I don't know who the hell you guys are, but you're here making a sandwich. You're a construction worker that's building a road, and we all agreed to be here at this moment together, even though we don't know each. And I just felt this unbelievable love for everyone standing there, and I was listening to one of the construction workers make fun of his friend because he got the Mediterranean salad because he's trying to watch his figure. I'm watching to this banter, and I'm just like, God, there's just so much love for. I don't even know who these people are, but I just felt all this love for these people, and in it, that is our souls are so interlinked together, and everybody's a reflection of you and who you are and where you are in your journey and in the human body, where you perceive your limitations to be, because they're just perceived limitations. They're not real, and so and that's what the Sophia Code is going to help you do. The Sophia Code is also going to help you unlock where your bondages are, where your weak spots are, where it's going to help you kind of pinpoint these so that you can find that liberation within yourself. It's not going to do it for you. It's going to help you do it for yourself. And that's again, I want to stress that again, like that's the power move, is that you get to do it for you. No white hat's going to do it for you. No pastor or preacher is going to do it for you. No monk is going to do it for you. You do it for you. You hold that power, and no one can take that away from you.
That is very true.
Now, I love this too. They call themselves the Order of the Devoted Shekinah. And I've learned since that Shekinah, get this, guys. So Shekinah is the original word for the Holy Spirit. And guess what? Originally, the Holy Spirit was perceived as feminine. Shekinah, it's a feminine energy. That's another research material I had. And they kind of downplayed that when they created the Trinity as Father, Son, Holy Ghost. They made it very masculine. But the Shekinah, the Holy Spirit of Christ consciousness, is feminine for all. Yes. And that makes sense too, because the feminine energy is the intuitive arts. It's the knowing, which is in all men or women. And so that makes sense that it would be a feminine, that Shekinah is connected. So for those who think that Sophia is demonic, Shekinah or Holy Spirit is connected directly to Sophia. It's there. It's in the Bible. They're just not telling you where it's coming from. It's feminine. So it's coming from Sophia, the feminine aspect of God, which makes total sense to me.
Yeah, absolutely. There can't just be masculine.
No.
It has to be the divine masculine as well as the divine feminine in everything. We can't just have intellect and no emotion. We can't just have thought with no feeling, because that's when it becomes limited. So
that's when we're a psychopath. You want to see something without the feminine emotions, just look at a psychopath. That's it.
Absolutely.
So, and so they kind of go through in this chapter again. I don't know if there's anything you guys want to talk about with the organization of the High Council, or the High Council is ordained by Sophia. Anything that
I just want to mention the legacy of love, because that's exactly what you're talking about. Once you realize that or whatever, the next thing is the legacy of love, and just have love for everything with no judgment. So I just wanted to.
I also highlight that because it's basically that's the next step. Okay. Second requirement of graduation is to create a legacy of love, which, as you say, Thea, is makes a lasting contribution to the earth. Because once we've understood that, then we can live in a loving way. We can respect all of life. We can understand that do no harm, but take no shit type. We can live by that sort of code in the true essence of the word. So
I want to also the paragraph under that, just to kind of re-emphasize this. They say life is eternal, and master souls' dynamic participation in life only expands with the completion of their incarnation in the denser worlds of form. Upon graduating from the physical plane, a soul ascends with a living library of wisdom gained from all their physical embodiments. The living library is often referred to as the soul's Akashic records, which we know people talk about the Akashic records a lot. And so, again, I want to say they're talking about you're completing these incarnations in this denser world, and they're saying you've gained wisdom from all these. So again, whoever you were in a past life really doesn't matter. It's what you gained from that existence that matters. It's what you gain from that friction that you experience in that incarnation that matters. That's bleeding forth into the next life. They go on to say the soulmate then choose to share their embodied wisdom by serving other souls on the same journey as the ascended master, teacher, mentor, and spiritual guide. As an ascended master, they broadcast the wisdom of their Akashic record from the ultimate light realms of their christened self, which is interesting. In the law of one, Ra talks about how once you get to third density is polarized. Once you get to fourth density, planets split and become either positive or negative. But one thing about fourth density positive, which I find very fascinating, is once you get to fourth density positive, you're able to then collect, you have a collected memory bank. And so if there's something you want to experience, if you understand, like you have a deeper understanding of fourth density from third density, obviously, and there's something that you know that you need to refine, as we spoke about on Monday, refining your spirit. There's something your soul needs to refine. You can tap into the collective memory bank in order to have that experience and information versus actually going through the physical experience like you would in third density. And so I'm seeing they're saying that these ascended masters are now sharing with you part of their Akashic record to help you tap into that wisdom as well. I hope that makes sense. But I just think that's so beautiful that when we get to that understanding, we can actually just tap into somebody's experience in order to have that. And what is that? That's and it only happens on a positive planet. Why? Because in order to tap into somebody else's experience, we have to have empathy. We have to be able to feel empathy and feel the experience without actually having the experience. Where again, negative based the psychopathy, they know cognitively what empathy is, but they can't actually viscerally. Like it's when you actually. Like when you actually viscerally feel it, like you feel sick to your stomach when you hear someone's been hurt, when you actually feel, the pain, you hear someone broke your arm, you're like, oh God, you actually feel it in your arm too. It's that, or somebody's been, heaven forbid, like raped. If there's something you need to learn from that experience, you can tap into that without actually going through it. And how beautiful is it that when we get to that level, we'll be able to then openly share our Akashic records with others, so that if there's something Thea or Chanti experience that I feel like I would benefit from, I can tap into that and they can tap into me, vice versa. That's so beautiful. And they're talking about that here, that these ascended masters are doing that with us while we're still in third density. They're already extending that out to us to tap into these experiences within our soul. Yeah, I hope that makes sense.
Totally. It's like that imprint.
Yeah.
It's
ultimately all our experience.
That's kind of like how I heal. How
Yeah.
I do healing is because I'm able to tune into a blockage in the body where the person is sick and know what it is, feel the age, feel whatever it was, and then without taking it on as well.
Yeah.
And you kind of like go in there, you feel it, and you can immediately decode it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what fourth density is going to be like for us, and I think it's beautiful.
You can't do that, and that's kind of like similar to what I spoke about in my experience a couple of weeks ago with my sister, right? You can't do that when you have judgment.
Yeah.
And it was that for me was the final breaking down of those walls. You can't actually help someone energetically as well through something, hold a situation spiritually, okay, while you have judgment. So, but that all comes together at the end when you realize all lifetimes come together. There is no right, there is no wrong. We've done this because we've all needed to. All of us are here in contract with God and a sacred contract with each other. And now that we realize that, we can operate from love, there's no need not to trust each other anymore. As you said, and that separation between positive and negative occurs, like literally. So now we're in a more of a positive, like-minded space. But you see, that's what I'm talking about. It's like that's when you attract the people in your space. We're not exiting Earth to attract that.
No.
We are just in the space where we ourselves are uplifting our frequency and therefore meeting each other in that space.
Yeah, absolutely. No, we're not exiting Earth, guys. No. Actually, it's kind of funny. The Cassiopeians, which are part of the Law One, they're like, do not get on a fucking spaceship. They're like, don't, that's a trick. Don't do that. Like, they're like, so if
Yeah.
somebody's telling you a spaceship's gonna come pick you up, no, boo, it's not. Don't get on a spaceship. Like, you came to Earth for Earth. Earth is a living, breathing being as well. And Earth herself is going through that ascension process too. You didn't come here to just be picked up. You came here
Well,
to
you know, I have this belief as well that Earth, in fact, is the most evolved of all the planets, because you cannot come to Earth unless you've had some practice elsewhere. I'll tell you that much.
Oh, yeah.
So everyone thinks, oh, I want to go to Venus or Mars or all these lovely places where things are rubbish. It's an energy that you bring with you. What does Venus mean? What is the frequency of Venus? Now let's work with it here. So Earth is really the most evolved of all the planets, because you don't leave here, you ascend. This is where we get to ascend. And that's why I say, as you say, third dimension is polarization. And when we've understood the polar opposites, it's like the yin and the yang, right? That and then suddenly when you get it, boom, the black and white join together, so to speak, and you get the silver, which is a Kundalini activation spiritually, right? And then you've understood that everything is perfectly as it should be. And that's when you will have your Kundalini activation of itself, the silver serpent, which then activates the neurons, or the central nervous system, neurons in the brain, activating the Kundalini within every cell of your body. And most people don't even know you have Kundalini in your cells, but you do. That's the transformative energy. It sits within your body at cellular level. That's the feminine heart energy, but you can't do it until you've brought yourself together in the heart space. And now you understand things differently. And it's true that if you, it doesn't mean you're perfect then. You have issues, but you get to go back with a lot more ease. You get to understand things. You get to release things and resolve things much quicker, because it's like your own engine has sped up and you've created more momentum in that area of your life. So it's all fun and games. It's beautiful in these amazing little bodies of ours.
So, the way I understand this little bit is that you have to come to Earth and master incarnations, is that you can't really become like Chanti. What you are saying is Earth being so special. You can't be a ascendant master if you don't come to Earth. You have to be here in order.
You're going to see that with Kuan Yin, actually. When we get to Kuan Yin's key code, you'll see that with her and her journey to Earth and her decision to come to Earth because she needed Earth. And she had a rough life on Earth when she was here. She picked at, though. And it's funny, I'm giggling because my boyfriend was saying, because he follows the Cassiopeians, that they were laughing that a while ago, many eons ago, we as humans understood this. This has been lost knowledge that we're now rediscovering. But back when we understood this, our ascension went at a snail's pace because we knew where we were going. And so we're like, we're just going to hang back and like enjoy Earth and just, we're good. Our soul's eternal. And so ascension went at a snail's pace because we were having fun. And then so it's almost like, I think we get frustrated because all of this information was ripped from us and we went through all this turmoil to get it back. But in it being ripped from us and then us having to retrieve that memory and get it back through the amnesia, we're having a reignition into what was super important. So God was almost like, I need you to speed up a little bit. I need you, so we're just going to rip this away. It's kind of like, as God looking at us as children, I'll tell this story about as children. My sister, I hope she doesn't kill me, but when my sister, who's 4 years younger than me, was learning how to potty train, my parents could not get her to potty train. They bought her all these toys, these stairs to climb up the toilet. I remember she would climb up the toilet and then just jump off. She just would not potty train. She refused it. She liked somebody else wiping her ass. She just would not potty train. And we were going to a picnic, and I think it was like a church picnic or something. And my parents had stopped by every single gas station to get diapers, and every single gas station was out of diapers. And so my mom got in the car and she looked at my sister and she goes, Mary Becca, they don't make diapers anymore. And she goes, okay. And then she was potty trained. So it's almost like that ripping away. Like finally God was like, all right, I'm going to take it away from you, so that you will actually do what you need to do. I was like, my sister being told they don't make diapers anymore. So now she's like, okay, I'll just go to the toilet then. Because she was having way too much fun. So I just, hearing the Cassiopeians, I laughed so hard. It was like, we knew about this. So we just took our time. We're just going to enjoy Earth. We're going to enjoy all the spoils of Earth. We're not going to worry about it because it's coming eventually. Mm-hmm. And so God stepped in. It's like you say, Lucifer is a creation of God. He had to step in to say, hey, kids, they don't make diapers anymore. You got to now use the big toilet.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's almost like I saw this a video a long time ago where it's the mom and the dad and the baby. So obviously the baby still sees himself as all of them is him and everything, and they had him in front of a mirror with stickers on their foreheads, and then he looks at them, he looks at the mirror, then they move the stickers and he looks at them, then he realized, oh, okay, I'm actually a separate being from these two. It's like we are being showed now. Like, remember we said that as the mother we didn't see Sophia, so we've got the stickers now and it's being taken off and we are being showed like this is, come on guys, speed up. Yeah. We need to vibrate and raise the vibrations.
The whole cosmos are waiting for you guys. Come on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so, yeah. And I think too, and I actually was, as you were saying that, I was thinking about like all the bondage that we go through and everything. And we see this with Thoth as well, because Thoth very clearly in the Emerald Tablets, which we talked about on Monday, was talking about how, the spiritual world, these ascended masters are looking at us from the other side, and they're not seeing us as our physical form. They're seeing us as bright rays of light. And Thoth was saying that the more bondage a person has, the dimmer the light. So it's just pulling that bondage off of the light. And I'm going to use an example, and it's one of Keith Raniere's examples, and I hate Keith Raniere. He was an NXIVM cult leader, but he was right about this. It's like when we see, if we look at a mirror, like you're talking about, and we put a red scarf over the mirror, we think the mirror is then red because what reflects back from the mirror is red, but the mirror is not red. It's the reflection of the scarf. And so what we're doing is we're taking those scarves off to see our, we call it in yoga, the Sanskrit word is Maya, is illusion. We have these illusions that we're living under. One of the biggest illusions we have is the idea of death. That's one of the biggest illusions out there. And look what that fear of death has caused people. I mean, they say every fear can really be traced back to the fear of death, but that's just an illusion. It's just an illusion. So if we take that fear away, what's actually there? What's really there? What's the real picture? I love it. I was saying the other day, I think if you look at one way where we switched with death is you look at the aging process now. We are staying younger a lot longer now than generations before us. A lot younger. My grandmother, my mom's mother, passed away when she was 61. She had cancer. And in my mind, I even look back at pictures of her and I was like, oh my God, she looked like an old lady. Now my mother is way past her mother's age. She's sorry that I didn't make her to sound like she's real old. No, but she's getting closer to 70. And my mom is spry. She plays with her grandkids. She's outside working in the yard. She's at the gym every day. So even that over the past few generations, even that illusion we've pulled back a little bit. And that's just a minor example. So like, what other illusions can we pull back? I mean, we see that with Tartaria, right? I feel like that was a huge illusion that has freed a lot of us, is our story's not accurate. Then what's it was only an illusion. So what's the truth? You know, and that's exciting. That's exciting to pull back, and through these activations, these pulling up, trying to pull up. It's like pulling weeds out of the yard, right? Trying to pull up these weeds to see where we are not seeing things clearly. And you don't have to be afraid of seeing things clearly, because the clear object that you're looking for is absolutely perfect and beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's true what you say with the layers, you know, it's really just removing the layers, or like the pieces of cloth around the inner light that dims or colors it, taints it a different color or a different shade to what it truly is. So it's very interesting. If we can just look at that, you know, and it's so easy to jump out of yourself and look at others again and then. But it's a beautiful process, you know, when you start realizing how this works and how easy it is and how simple. I wouldn't say easy. No, it's not easy, but how simple it is once you apply. You've turned the narrative upside down or on its head, and you really just do the opposite of what you've been thinking, and you start applying that understanding. Makes a big difference to life, that's for sure.
It's exciting. It makes you, I mean, if you had told me like 5 years ago that I would be questioning what our earth looks like, I would have told you were crazy. Now, even that, I mean, think about how much and how exciting is it. I'm like, what is out there? What is the truth?
Someone told me with a lot of confidence, by the way, as someone in the know, it's toroidal shaped.
Go look at that. That's the other theory. But anyway.
Interesting. But I'm just using that as, I mean, I'm talking about things outside of ourselves as an example, like, wow, this is so cool. So it's
I just thought I'd pop that in there, just by the way.
Fantastic. I'm under the assumption, too, that all the continents are closer together. I literally think they suspend us in the air when we're flying. Like, because, I mean, our friend Catherine Edwards over in England has said this, what's like the Canadian geese fly to England. And we think, oh, they're so strong. Well, are they really flying that? How far are they really flying?
How far these little shits flying? I mean, what have they got, like flipping supersonic wings or something? What's going on?
Rockets under what if it's like literally like, what if I could just like canoe over to England? Like, what if I'm gonna laugh so hard if I figure out we could literally just paddleboarded over to Europe? You know, like literally, oh, there it is.
Yes, exactly. Anyway, I think, you know, it's just so fun being part of the process of exposing the bullshit. I think it's going to take many generations and long past my sell-by date, what is currently, you know, the norm, human norm here on Earth. Who knows? Anything can change. But I think there's so much that we're going to be discovering. I think Earth is going to just be one beautiful, like this Pandora's box of awesomeness. We're all going to be digging and scratching into the trenches. Hey, look at this. I remember this about that. Oh my gosh, remember that line?
I thought the Earth was round, LOL. You know, like. Well, that's the thing. Like, you know,
like Facebook account.
I know. No, and I like think about that. Like, okay, now think about all this exciting things we're learning about the world. Now turn that on yourself. What are the perceived ideas you have about you that might not be true? That might just be your own illusion. And if it's not true, I mean, we have in America, we have these like social security numbers. They're awful. And I always knew philosophically we're not our social security numbers. But when I started to really learn about the corruption behind the banking system and all that kind of stuff, I was like, fuck, we are absolutely not our social security numbers. That's a big sham. Yeah. I am not that. I am not that system. And so, I mean, for people watching, you're not the accountant. You're not the secretary. You're not the teacher. You're not the doctor or the lawyer. Who are you really? That's just
Yeah,
what you do. Who are you really?
exactly.
Find
Strip
that out.
yourself. I always say to someone, my wish for you is that one day everyone you love turns their back on you. Because in those moments, and even if it's for a short space in time, because in those moments when you feel so stripped to the bone, to the core, that's when you figure out who you really are. You know, everyone says, oh, when I'm down and out, I'll know who my friends are. No, 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 no. You've got to become your own friend then, because then it's is at that time that you really understand what good friend you are to someone. And I actually, and I have met a few people, and throughout my life had sort of friends or whatever who've really, let's say, in a moment, lost everything, or experienced a big tragedy, lost a loved one, lost a child, whatever the case might be. You know, when you meet people in those moments, you really get to know them, and
Yeah.
that for me is a beautiful thing. So it's such an amazing thing when you don't have your houses, you don't have your cars, you don't have your boats, you don't have your Jimmy Choos, whatever. And I look at these influences in today's world and I'm thinking, oh, my poor children, you guys are in for some rude awakenings, in my opinion, anyway, you know. But I think, you know, when we really have nothing that we can crutch onto, it's like what you're saying. Okay, we are now taking away that, you know, stepping back, we're letting you fly. So when you no longer have that crutch of your car, your house, your spouse, your whatever it is, you now see how you stand strong in your own strength. And
Yeah.
suddenly it's like, you know, when we're doing tarot cards, it's that tower card, that tower moment. Every existing structure breaks down and the mind breaks down. I mean, I must say, when I was in India, I had that incredible vision of my mind, of this bricks just breaking down in my mind. You know, the structures of my mind just breaking down, just dust flying everywhere. And I'm like, whoa, I've got to do a cleanup operation. It was
Yeah.
amazing, you know. So it's that moment we all have where maybe suddenly your thought processes change, suddenly your living arrangements change, suddenly your work arrangement changes, friends, family, whatever. But it's in that moment that you stand with yourself, and it's you and God in your bareness, in your nakedness, standing in front of that mirror. That's when you
Yeah.
get to know who you really are and
Yes.
what you really are made of. And I think this past couple of years has been such a testament to that for so many of us who've actually said, screw you, I ain't doing what you want me to do. And I don't mind if you take my friends and my family away with your brainwashing. It hurts my
Yeah.
heart for sure. But the true light starts shining through then when the veils are so thin, because it
Yeah.
really does remove the veils.
It's like I always say, at some point in your life, you got to buy a ticket to the Hot Mess Express, because only in that moment of being on that Hot Mess Express are you going to figure out who you really are. You know, it's
Yeah.
that's what yoga, true yoga, does to you. It puts you fat. My friend Harmony up in Canada always says, all it does is it speeds your karma up. And so you
Yeah.
really get it, and you see it come quickly, and you go, oh my God, who am I? Like, who am I? This is not what I thought, who I thought. You know, all my perceived ideas about myself are not accurate. They're not accurate. So, you know, buy that ticket, proudly buy that ticket to the Hot Mess Express, you know, because all aboard, the train's leaving the station, you know? Um,
Absolutely. And it's just lovely,
Yeah.
you know, and you know, when we all realize, and part of what you're saying, Brice, is that fourth dimension, that fourth dimension, fourth density positive, right? It's really understanding each other's shit, and we no longer judge each other for it. You know, it's like, oh my gosh, did you do that? Let me tell you about this. You know, so we understand that we've all really been in the hot seat and on the Hot Mess Express at double express speed. and really done some dodgy things at some point in our lives, and when you can say, well, how did you deal with that? And you go, well, it's something we don't have to hide anymore. All of us have experienced shame. All of us have experienced guilt. I would love to, and part of my workshops is we talk about our shame. Really, I would love to do a show. Let's talk about our greatest shame. When we talk about the hideous things that we've done. Can you imagine how much healing will happen?
I would have to sit down and like write an essay because where do I start? Where do I start?
Yeah, because I think it's such a good thing to actually do, to understand, and that's what it is that I love. I must say, when I became a healer, one of the first things I did was get my students to work on me. And when I started teaching, because I knew how protective I was of my shit. So I would get them to dig, and I'd say, don't you dare say you don't see something if you see it, and you're going to call me out on it, and you're going to ask me about it. And that's exactly what they did. And it was amazing for me. That was one of the most amazing exercises I did in my journey, is become vulnerable with the people that I was teaching, So that was when we can do that, and we can share our pain and how shame triggered me, or what I did in moments of shame and how I covered it up, and we can also think, you think that's bad? Listen to this.
Yeah.
So we have that lovely party, getting rid of your shame. And I think
we can laugh about it. The fact that people can talk about their shame and be like tee hee hee.
But that's the healing, right? Because now it means you understood our journey. We don't want to hide the fact that my mother was pregnant with me when she got married anymore. You know what I'm saying? There was and shame and this, and my father this, and that happened. We're hiding all these things, like these little all over, and they become like little gremlins, in energy. Yeah. Really, they become like little gremlins.
Yeah, my sister, it's actually so beautiful to see. So what she never used to have girlfriends. She always had issues with girls. But it's so beautiful to see, because she now has actually started a group amongst her sisters and her friends and whatever, like she called them strong women that can learn from each other or whatever. So every Thursday night or whatever, she gets us together and we just talk about our shit and our things, and how did you get through this, and how did you dealt with when your husband passed away or whatever. It's just like, I was so happy when I got that. I was like, we need this, especially here where we live. Because Chanti, I live in Krugersdorp, and what all goes on here, and with the child trafficking and all of that. Here's hectic shit going on here. So to have that group of women, I can't wait to join them. I can't unfortunately join them now tomorrow night, but to just get that bunch of watchdogs together.
They should do this.
I first need to test the waters, because there's still a little bit of limits there.
South Africa has a lot of religious indoctrination, and very much so. Remember, we come from ex-NG Church, which is the Dutch Reformed Church, run by a very Afrikaans, Nazi, neo-Nazi, white apartheid government.
Okay. That might take a minute for them to because I feel like what you're saying is so common, Sophia, because there's so many women have been the divine feminine has been so destabilized that women see themselves as like competition instead of allies. And one of my really good friends here in Atlanta, who's a Black lady, when all this nonsense started, when they tried to make racism a thing, my friend was like, listen, Brice, white women, Black women, we need to be each other's strongest allies. And I loved when she said that, like
humans, not just women.
Humans. But the fact that she could see through, and she's like, no, you're not going to separate us. No. So yeah, and it's but that's what they're healing is in this is the feminine is that, and for men as well. I know I have quite a few men on my channel that went through this with me the first time because it is so healing. It is you're going to see these women. This is not like when we go through the key codes. It's not like a day at the beauty salon. Like these women went through horrific life circumstances, horrific, in order to have the friction to be where they are now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, they're not examples of distress.
We know that how it works here. Any growth or expansion that occurs on this planet is really coming from the place of hardship, tough ship, having to surf that tidal wave, falling down that mountain, splat, oh dear, I come back in the next lifetime, go through the whole process again. Dang, this is getting boring now. I got to finish this.
Beat my karma up, baby. I gotta knock this out. Well, I will say there's a Marnie Alton quote that I love. She says it a lot. I don't know if it's her original quote, but she says we can't control the water, so we learn how to surf.
Exactly. Yeah.
Amazing surfer.
Yeah. Exactly.
So
sure. Okay, well, I see we're on an hour. Is there anything, Brice, that you want to maybe just end off with?
I would just highly suggest everybody get their own copy. I really believe that this book is one of the most important books. I mean, I know that she makes it very clear it's only going to go who it needs to go to, but I think that this is one of the most underrated books. I know every person that I know in Atlanta and my friends in Atlanta who have this book. My friend Cindy, we may maybe bring Cindy on towards the end because she teaches workshops around this book, like she does.
Yeah.
And so this book is something. It's not a one and done. You're going to reread this so many times. Take notes in your books because this book was. And I just hope we get to talk to the author one day because she's another Jessie Zaboter. She survived.
I hope so too.
Well. Yeah.
I want to say as well, I mean, it is equally as important for men to read this. And I know on these types of channels, I mean, if you're looking at our demographic, the majority is women, okay? But it's for the ladies, it is so important for your men because just because they're men, remember we have masculine, feminine energy within. Right hand is masculine, left side is feminine. And so when we understand how the body works and what it's showing us, you understand your relationships with men and their relationships with you are all about this. Relationships and emotions are all about the divine feminine and the feminine energy. And I always say it is up to us women to wake up. And I'm talking not about the pain body and screaming. You know, very often you ask someone, what is your definition of an emotional woman? And they'll think screaming, shouting, hurling things, cussing, whatever. That's a woman in pain. That's the pain body that's active. But when we're looking at an emotional woman, we are talking about someone who's in touch with her intuition. Okay, so oopsie, my cat. So when an emotional woman is in tune with her intuition and stuff like that, right? You are calm. You don't need to scream and shout. It's kind of like you preempt things. You understand you're in the right place at the right time. It takes us as women to wake up so that we can activate that in our men. So those women are talking about your shitty husbands and your shitty partners or whatever. No, you are attracting that partner. It is up to you to align your feminine divine energy because men, remember, they want to see things. Men are more practical. I want to see it, feel it, hear it, touch it. Boom, it exists. So if a man can see a difference in your behavior, if a man can see a difference in the way you're dealing with your finances and that you're not running off to the shops every 6 minutes to spend his credit card type thing. And I'm sorry to say that, but I know there are definitely those types of things that happen quite frequently. I'm saying that's when they start trusting because men, remember, are shut down from their sacral centers. So man will then start trusting the divine feminine energy more. You are his muse. You are his example. You are that happy place for him. And I don't mean you got to go all kuchiku. Boundaries, strong boundaries, communication, emotions that you can talk about. You yourself have got to learn how to do that first before you can even think about having that in your relationship as a woman. And that's why it's equally as important for men to read this book, because they also, what you think Divine Sophia is not their mother? Oh, how? They probably need their mother now more than ever, because most mothers, I'm a mother of a son, I was screwed up and probably did my child more damage than what I intended to because of my misgivings. And that we have maternal guilt, don't we? Right? So I'm saying that men need their mothers more, actually, than women, if you think about it. And this would be a great way for them to connect with that divine feminine energy.
Yeah. I also think as the more people connect to this, obviously the more the vibrations will raise and the more people will be open to receive this. You know, as we do it, like you said, Brice, it will come to who is ready for it or whatever. So if we can just crack through, the more people are going to be open for this. I've got no doubt in my mind. I've got no, because
it's a collective consciousness.
Has to. Absolutely. Okay, guys.
I made a note here. Sorry, I just want to say I made a note here, but that's why Sophia came, because of what I said. LOL. And that's a little personal joke for me, because I keep on saying stupid things about being a master and wanting to be a master in the next lifetime, and you know, stupid little things. And
now it happens now.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly.
Now is the time, right? No time like the present. Yay.
Exactly.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. This has been great again. Really enjoy these shows. And thank you so much to our viewers for watching and supporting and enjoying this journey with us. This is really stuff we need to share. So please share, like, subscribe, get the information out there. These are such important times. People might not know it right yet, but they really do need this. And the time is going to be accelerating more and more in the near future as to how people coming out of the system, waking up, etc. This will be the information they need. So share the podcast, share the information. It's always very cool to get it in that way as well.
For a birthday gift.
I was thinking that, Sophia, we must be telepathic. I was like, this would be a really cool gift to give someone too.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okie dokie. Thank you, everybody. God bless you all. We'll see you soon. I think, what is tomorrow? I don't think I see you guys tomorrow, but I think I see you on Friday again. Take good care of yourselves. Lots of love from the oceans. Bye-bye.
Guys.